Tired of the ordinary at lunchtime? Why not try something smart to chew on? The Lunchroom on RCI, Monday to Friday, 12:45 to 2 p.m. The Lunchroom, informative, enlightening, provocative, engaging. The Lunchroom on RCI, food for thought. The station that gives you, more lunch.
So, okay, good. We're back up, and sorry about that. My apologies. We seem to be having a technical issue here. And yes, so we're on to the lunchroom, as I mentioned, and we are, of course, going to be taking in our friends from Republic Bank in just a bit and talking about the options to, in fact, sign in online and get your accounts going with Republic Bank. That will be our feature in just a bit. But before I get into that, I want to send some birthday greetings out to Mr. Robin Scouten, who's celebrating his birthday today. Also to his very close cousin. They were actually almost cousin twins, if you like, Miss Anika, Miss Anika York. I know she's married now, but we're wishing her a wonderful birthday celebration as well. Also to Mrs. Alita Favre Moise, happy birthday to you. Hope you're having a fantastic birthday celebration. And we also want to send out birthday greetings to Mr. Rossini Marta. Hope you're having a fantastic birthday as well. Now, a little later on in the program, after our Republic Corner, we're also going to be touching on St. Jude Hospital, and we're expecting a call in from the Chief Executive Officer of St. Jude Hospital, Miss Lydia Atkins, as well as communications lead over there, Miss Jade Brown. So we'll be speaking about the ongoing commissioning process with respect to getting St. Jude Hospital up and running. First, we're going to after that, before we do that, we want to take in some history for today. And back in the year 1805, the Lewis and Clark expedition, led by Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, reached the Pacific Ocean, and they were the first European Americans to cross the West. In the year 1863, on this day, the United States President Abraham Lincoln delivered his famous Gettysburg Address, which started off as 7 years ago. In the year 1942, Operation Uranus, Soviet offensive began during the Battle of Stalingrad, where 1 million Soviet soldiers encircled the German Sixth Army. 1985, on this day, saw U.S. President Ronald Reagan and Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev meeting for the first time. And we now move on to our dish of the day.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to our program here at the Lunchroom. And of course, if it's Wednesday here in the Lunchroom, we have Republic Bank on the menu. And today we're going to be speaking about the whole opportunity of making Christmas magical. Excuse me. And one of the ways, of course, you need to do that is that you've got to have an account. You've got to have a Republic Bank account. And to tell us how you can do that really seamlessly and easily, I'm so very pleased that we can have Petra Jeloui, Personal Banking Officer of Republic Bank EC St. Lucia, to guide us through that process. And of course, Petra was here with us last week. She's back with us here this week as well. Petra, how are you doing today? I'm pretty good, thank you. And I think we're hearing you pretty loud and clear. So let's tell us exactly what is Republic on Board? Yes, and of course that term is so popular these days. The whole process of onboarding, you're joining a company, you're joining a business, and of course Republic is doing just the same with its brand new customers. And of course, the importance of being able to set up an account anywhere. That sounds really, really remarkable. How can customers gain access to this feature? Wow, okay. That sounds very, very simple indeed. Now, if you already have a Republic Bank account, can you still use Republic on Board? So, how does Republic on Board offer customers convenience? So, is there some sort of a fee for using this feature of opening an account? And you can open any type of account. Does it have to be a personal account or checking account? Any type of account at all? This is very, very exciting, and quite often we hear the challenges that people have to go through in terms of getting accounts going. Sometimes, some people say it takes a very, very long time, and this option sounds really fantastic. And I suppose on this platform you can upload your documents, you can provide your whatever requirements all online. Well, this is very, very fantastic indeed. Being able to just set up an account, not having to physically go into a bank, is certainly a major, major plus. And again, it is happening thanks to Republic Bank. Is it fair to say that I think this is is this the first time where we're seeing this feature from a bank in St. Lucia? It does definitely appears that way indeed, Petra. And I'm so very pleased again that you can share with us your insights as to how, again, you can stay at the comfort of your home or at work and you can actually get an account set up. without going into the bank physically. So kudos to Republic Bank for making that happen. Petra, you have any final comments, final words, final advice for us from Republic Bank this week? Well, definitely, I think I'm going to check that out, and I hope that a lot of other people do just that as well. And it's a wonderful opportunity to be able to get that account started. Just one final quick question, because I know sometimes banks have a requirement that you've got to have a minimum deposit placed on the account. Is that still part of the requirement in this? No. Okay. So you can actually. Fantastic, fantastic. So this is again wonderful news. Thanks to Republic Bank, it's making it easier for you to actually have your bank account. It's important to have a bank account. There might be people out there who still don't have, and of course the new generation coming up, which they definitely want everything to be online, and Republic Bank, of course, is making it happen for you. And so we do hope that you can take on that wonderful opportunity. I guess you get your card in the mail, I suppose, or you have to go in maybe to get it. Wonderful, wonderful. That's very good news indeed. Petra Louis, Personal Banking Officer at Republic Bank EC Limited here in St. Lucia. Thank you so very much again for sharing with us this Republic Corner. And have yourself a wonderful day. And of course, that has been our Republic Corner right here on the lunchroom at Radio Caribbean International. Of course, that's our dish of the day as well. And so we'll be right back after this.
This has been The Daily Dish.
Every bed in our hospitals tells a story of someone's mother, someone's brother, someone's friend. And when that story of care is complete, it's time for the next chapter, home. But too often, discharged patients are left waiting hours, days, weeks, sometimes months, not because they want to stay, but because no one comes. We understand life gets busy, but every extra day they wait means another patient, perhaps in pain, perhaps in crisis, can't get the bed they desperately need. So when the call comes that your loved one is ready, please be ready too. Pick them up, bring them back to the comfort of family, where healing truly continues. Because caring doesn't end at discharge, it continues with you. A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Now, as I mentioned, the matter of St. Jude Hospital seems to be one of these issues, one of these projects that has been dominating the airwaves for some time. And of course, over the weekend, we saw the official handover of the complex of St. Jude Hospital to the health officials, inclusive, of course, of the St. Jude board. Just to give you some context and some background, this project, when it first commenced back in about April of 2010, in the period after the devastation of the surgical building at St. Jude Hospital. The project was placed within the Ministry of Economic Development. And at that time, you might recall, originally the Ministry of Economic Development was headed by Mr. Osbert Dove, and then later on, the Prime Minister took over that. It was merged with the Ministry of Finance. And so he had responsibility, the Prime Minister at the time being Stephenson King. And so that project was never being run by the Ministry of Health. It was being run by the Ministry of Economic Development. And I suppose the thinking at that time was that there was project management and project planning capacity, technical capacity within the Ministry of Economic Development to take forward this project, albeit, of course, it was a a piece of health infrastructure. But that is, in fact, how it was originally conceived from a project planning perspective. And so what has effectively happened is that the Ministry of Economic Development has been the custodians of St. Jude Hospital, and the St. Jude Hospital reconstruction project has been a project they've been implementing for the past 16 years or so, almost 16 years, let's say 15 years. And so effectively, as we know, St. Jude Hospital, which is actually a statutory entity, has been so, I think, since perhaps even around 1992. Prior to that, of course, it was a private hospital, and then later on, it became fully managed by the government of St. Lucia. And then by 2003, there was a new act brought forward to oversee the operations of St. Jude Hospital. So that site is effectively owned by that statutory entity, the St. Jude Hospital Board. And so effectively what we're seeing is that a project, the client was actually, in the first instance, the Ministry of Economic Development, albeit the end user was in fact the St. Jude Hospital. And so this handing over, of course, is allowing now for the health agency to become far more involved in terms of the process of actual commissioning of the hospital. So, of course, a lot has been said about this matter of commissioning and how long should it take. Of course, lots of people are curious as to that entire process, because certainly we would not like to see a situation in respect of St. Jude, and what happened with respect to OKEU happening with St. Jude Hospital. OKEU, you may recall, was first conceptualized somewhere around 2002, and financing had to be put in place. Designs had to be prepared, and work on St. Jude Hospital, on OKEU, really only kind of started, one might say, somewhere around 2005, I think. And a lot of that work was preparatory work, creating retaining structure, creating the site preparation, the earthworks in respect of the site, as well as creating the access road from the Millennium Highway into OKEU, what is now OKEU. And then, of course, from around 2007 or so, we saw work actually starting on the buildings themselves. And so somewhere by around 2000 and I think maybe about 2012, we saw the main aspects of the contractual work completed with respect to the building itself. And then we saw additional works that had to be done by the state, involving provision of parking areas, provision of a cafeteria and laundry and other things. that was being done, and of course putting in place the entire commissioning plan. So it was perhaps not until about 2016 that everything was in place for the commissioning of OKEU. But then what did we see, even so, that it was not until 2020, 4 years on, where we actually saw finally the commissioning of OKEU. And that, even when we say that though, in fact, just maybe last year or so, we were still seeing certain aspects of OKEU being commissioned. For example, last year, OKEU finally got an oxygen generation plant, which of course allows it now to not have to depend on hauling gases, medical gases from outside of the property into the hospital. So, and that just happened in 2024. So certainly commissioning of a hospital is a phased approach. It tends to be over a period of time. And of course, it has to be done very, very carefully to be able to ensure that all the systems are in fact properly tested, all the equipment is in fact properly handled. And it's a process, because even there's also a belief that somehow you have a contractor and the contractor finishes it. It's quite often that's one point. But then you're now moving into another phase where the agencies are now coming in and making sure that everything is in fact as per design. They're making sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. They're making sure that all the equipment that has been ordered is in fact there and is and it of course has to be installed. And we are again dealing with highly specialized equipment. Highly specialized equipment which quite often requires individuals from suppliers or specialists to actually come in to handle the installation and testing of that equipment. And a lot of that can only happen when all the spaces have been completed, and we're then ending up dealing with a clean site, so to speak, to be able to move in a lot of this equipment. And so this is a process that is now effectively ongoing, has already started. And so you will see that certain services may be easier to begin moving than others. And so this is exactly why you've already seen the administration services of the St. Jude Hospital, as well as the physiotherapy services moving towards actual use of the building at St. Jude. So it is certainly a important milestone. Are we at the end of the journey? No, we're not at the end of the journey. There's, of course, more to be done in respect of St. Jude Hospital to ensure that, of course, inpatients can be safely moved as well, and to ensure that the hospital is functioning as it is supposed to. And that is also going to require St. Jude Hospital also looking at its staffing, looking at the adequacy of its staffing, looking at the adequacy of its processes. Because once you're talking about moving into a new space, there's certain things that have to now happen. There's certain protocols that one has to follow, because you are dealing with a new space. And these physical spaces come with their own considerations quite often. What is the route that you're going to utilize to move food from the kitchen to your wards? How are you going to move dirty stuff out? How are you ensuring that things get to the laundry and back in? And what are your storage protocols going to be like? What is your maintenance protocols going to be like? And that, of course, is all very, very important in a facility to ensure that that facility is, in fact, going to be run efficiently and safely for the people, the users of that facility. So it is a process that is no doubt going to continue. And we hope that we can very soon get an indication of what that process is going to look like from the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of St. Jude Hospital, who is due to call in sometime very soon. But in the meantime, though, let's actually take in our weather report, compliments the St. Lucia Met Services.
Last year, boy, problems to get shipment of tiles in time for Christmas. This year, Island Style has enough tiles in stock to cover the whole of St. Lucia. And with our Christmas sale starting now, every tile is on sale. Island Style has massive stock, the widest variety, and the very best sale prices on quality tiles. And natural stone in St. Lucia. Great deals on beautiful bathroom faucets, vanities and fixtures, tiling tools and accessories. Don't fall for no gimmicks anywhere else. Island Style's annual Christmas sale is unbeatable. Tiles for miles. Deals as far as the eye can see. Start your car, ride your bike, hop on a bus, and hurry down to Island Style Town and Bath now. Castries, Rodney Bay, and Viewford. Check Facebook for more details.
It's now time for your weather report, brought to you by Island Style.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And the forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from between the east and east-northeast near 17 miles per hour or 28 kilometers per hour. Weather partly cloudy skies, becoming cloudy at times with a few showers. Forecast for the Lesser Antilles, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with widely scattered showers. Tropical weather outlook. Moist, unstable conditions in the atmosphere will continue to cause occasional cloudiness, with showers over the Lesser Antilles during the next 24 hours. Tropical cyclone formation is not expected over the tropical Atlantic during the next 7 days. And that is your weather report, brought to you by Island Style.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Last year, boy, problems to get shipment of tiles in time for Christmas. This year, Island Style has enough tiles in stock to cover the whole of St. Lucia. And with our Christmas sale starting now, every tile is on sale. Island Style has massive stock, the widest variety, and the very best sale prices on quality tiles and natural stone in St. Lucia. Great deals on beautiful bathroom faucets, vanities and fixtures, tiling tools and accessories. Don't fall for no gimmicks anywhere else. Island Style's annual Christmas sale is unbeatable. Tiles for miles. Deals as far as the eye can see. Start your car, ride your bike, hop on a bus, and hurry down to Island Style Town and Bath now. Castries, Rodney Bay, and Viewford. Check Facebook for more details.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Now, of course, we're hearing lots of different terminologies and different nomenclature when it speaks to the matter of hospitals, and I just wanted to share very quickly what is meant by hospital commissioning for the benefit of listeners. And it's a really abstract, I think, coming out largely from just simply asking the AI, what is hospital commissioning? And it reads as follows. Hospital commissioning is the comprehensive process of ensuring a new or renovated facility is fully operational and ready to care for patients by aligning and testing all systems, processes, and staff. It involves verifying that building systems like HVAC, that's heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, life support, and IT, or information technology, function correctly, as well as training staff, finalizing operational procedures, and integrating support services before the hospital opens. This strategic process goes beyond simple construction, ensuring safety, compliance, and efficiency for optimal patient care. Key components of hospital commissioning: building and systems verification. This involves testing and documenting that all building systems and equipment, from mechanical to life support and IT, perform to the predefined standards outlined in the owner's project requirements. Operational readiness. This includes a wide range of activities to ensure the hospital can function smoothly on opening day. Recruitment and training of specialist doctors, nurses, and support staff. 2. Developing and implementing standard operating procedures or SOPs and policies. Coordinating support services like catering, cleaning, and security. Selecting and implementing IT systems and processes. Then we move on to staff and team training. Commissioning includes training new staff on how to operate within the new facility and on new equipment. Simulation exercises can be used to test new processes, systems, and interdisciplinary team communication before real patients arrive. Patient safety and compliance. The process ensures compliance with regulations and helps to prevent future issues by verifying critical safety features, and ensuring a safe environment for patients. This includes confirming effective infection control and emergency preparedness. Integration with design and construction. Commissioning is not a post-construction step. It is integrated with the design and construction phases to ensure the facility's design intent is consistently met throughout the project lifecycle. And post-occupancy evaluation. A modern approach considers commissioning a continuum that extends beyond the opening, evaluating the facility's performance and making necessary adjustments to ensure sustained, high-quality patient care. And that, I think, is a pretty good breakdown of the whole process in respect of commissioning of a hospital. As you can see, it is very involved in terms of how it goes through a number of different steps. And just to sort of break it down from a 7-step perspective, there are 7 essential steps in respect of commissioning. There's the planning process, there's the design review process, there is the pre-commissioning process, which is the construction verification. There is commissioning, which is the functional testing. There is the startup, right, which is, of course, how the actual shifting of to go live. There's the performance verification, and then there's a handover and close out. So that even the commissioning process also has a handover and close out process. And again, I just want to share, what does that look like? Commissioning success starts with early planning. This step sets the foundation for everything. And so that comes back to the point of what we were talking about earlier on, that the commissioning process actually begins even before the actual construction actually occurs, right? So there's the planning aspect. The design review process. Before equipment even arrives on site, the design should be reviewed with commissioning in mind. This ensures that the systems being built can actually be tested, operated, and maintained as intended. So key activities would involve reviewing engineering drawings and system layouts, confirming testability and maintaining of design and maintainability of designs, validating compliance with project and regulatory requirements, and identifying commissioning requirements early in the design. So, for example, I mean, obviously, one of the critical aspects of a commissioning process is ensuring that you have the handoff in terms of all your certifications for particular aspects of the design or the system. Fire is a good example of that. So of course, we've seen that the fire department has come in, the St. Lucia Fire Service, and has had a number of visits to the facility. Of course, they would have been involved in the development control side of things even before that, in terms of seeing the design, ensuring that it meets local design requirements for fire prevention and control. And so, of course, they now also have to then come in and see the adequacy of what was actually installed by the contractor. And in some instances, of course, they will even perhaps give additional advice or different recommendations, or if they see certain areas that may require maybe additional services, they will do that through the process. So, of course, the St. Lucia Fire Service is, in fact, a very important stakeholder in terms of the pre-commissioning period. Let's talk about it now. Number 3, the pre-commissioning or construction verification step, also known as static commissioning. This step ensures that everything is properly installed and ready for operation before systems are energized. Key activities include performance of inspections and punch list walkdowns, verification of equipment installation against design specifications, complete mechanical completion checklists, conducting factory acceptance testing of FAT documentation reviews. And why does this step matters? This step confirms that the physical setup is safe, complete, and ready to be brought online. Number 4, commissioning or functional testing. This is where the real action begins. The commissioning team tests each system to confirm it functions correctly and meets the intended performance requirements. Now, some people have been asking a question as to why is it that, okay, if the building is being handed over, then why are we still seeing the presence of persons from the contractor? Now, obviously, there are still certain aspects that the contractor has to work on. So he still has additional civil works in some instances. But then you have now this process that is going on in terms of the commissioning, which actually requires the contractor's involvement. The contractor is the one who is bringing in the equipment. The contractor is the one who is ensuring that the equipment is brought in safely, destuffed, put into the right places. And then he is then, of course, also going to ensure that the specialists are, in fact, going to be brought in for the testing as well. So he has a role to play in the commissioning process. And so it is certainly very important. It is certainly very important. I think we're trying to get a call at this point. I'm just checking to see. I believe that we are trying to get that call in from, yes, I believe, is it Miss Jade Brown? Yes, okay, so yes, so I finally have gotten that call in from the St. Jude Hospital, and I believe we have good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing? Yes, indeed. Wonderful. Well, we were waiting for that call, and in fact, we have already kind of begun the conversation on the whole matter of what is commissioning. But we would definitely love to be able to hear it from you. And you also with Miss Lydia Atkins, I believe, the CEO, the wonderful, the Chief Executive Officer of St. Jude Hospital. Thanks for joining us here on the program. And of course, Miss Atkins, congratulations for being able to at least come home, one can say. How does it feel? Mm-hmm. Right. It was almost like a people in exile, eh? Right. Mm. Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I actually think back to the original time just after the fire, and the timeline that was being put forward was 6 months. Believe it or not, that that everything was going to be done in 6 months, and people would have been back in. Clearly that was not realistic, and certainly did not happen. And then I suppose after that we were hearing about a 2 year period, and then we were hearing about another 2 years, and then look at where we are now, so many years on. But finally, though, that you've now actually taken occupation of St. Jude Hospital. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Wonderful. Mm-hmm. Now, now, some people may be wondering. Right. Now, some people may be wondering, how does it work in terms of effectively two sites? You're operating out of two sites at the same time, so to speak. You might want to speak to how that is in and of itself perhaps a bit of a new challenge that you have to deal with over the next couple of months. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Now, I mean, speak a little bit to that phasing of process of how it's going to happen, because I also assume that that's going to come with some level of cost in terms of the process, the actual logistical operation of making the move. In some instances, I'm sure you probably may have some level of duplication that you're going to have for a period of time. Speak to that a little bit first, please. Mm-hmm. 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 Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Uh, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Y- right. Mm-hmm. Right. So this is where the simulations, of course, are going to be very important for the staff. Right. And of course, there's so many moving parts that you have to be effectively planning for. I mean, you just mentioned a few of them: laundry, clinical. I'm sorry, the catering, cafeteria, and we could say perhaps these are the least life-threatening to some degree. Of course, I mean, you now have to be thinking about how are you going to be commissioning your laboratory? How are you going to be commissioning your central sterile services? How are you going to be commissioning your medical gas lines? There's a lot that you've got to be working on really for the next couple of months. I suppose one of the Indeed, indeed. I suppose one of the questions that a lot of people have in their minds is when is the active functional commissioning of going live, so to speak, in terms of your inpatients finally being shifted across to the OJ side. When are you forecasting that to actually happen? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. And I can well understand your hesitancy because, of course, there are so many things that are beyond your control at this point, especially in terms of equipment. The issues that we are seeing right now, for example, the Port of Kingston as a result of Hurricane Melissa, and the delays that are coming forward as a result of just that, just being able to physically get the equipment into St. Lucia is just one hurdle you have to overcome. And then even beyond that, you now have to talk about how do you bring down the required specialists to be able to properly install and test and train on that equipment. So certainly quite a lot there to take in. The other matter I would want you to point out perhaps a little bit or speak to a little bit on is the issue of the scale of the new St. Jude. That the space is simply a lot more than what you have been having to manage, so to speak, over the past 16 years or so. You're talking about more beds. You're talking about more floor space, more space to cool, more space that has to be cleaned. It inevitably, I suspect, is going to require increased staffing as well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Fa- Fantastic. And you're speaking about all of the equipment. So this is all effectively on order. We're just waiting for it to land in St. Lucia. But the equipment has effectively been paid for already. That's I just want to make get you to clarify that aspect as well. I'm just saying, and basically, with you speaking about the expanded equipment, that has all been part of the deliverables that the contractor has to provide. Right, 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 right. Hmm. Right. Well, I suppose they're basing it on the fact that they may have seen OKEU take almost 4 years before it was finally commissioned. Yeah. Right. Right. And that this definitely was not the case with OKEU, right? It was only until COVID came, and then you saw people. Finally, there was a forced move, so to speak. But in the case of St. Jude, we're actually already seeing Mrs. Atkins, Mrs. Atkins, your office has already shifted, I understand, to St. Jude, to the new St. Jude. Okay. HR, finance. Yes. Right. Hmm. Hmm. Yes. Wonderful. And just coming back to the point that you were making regarding the contractor and the fact that, of course, the contractor still has responsibilities right now in terms of the equipment, ensuring that the equipment is brought in and installed. But in addition to that, in any project of this size, you will always have a defects liability period. You'll have a period, even once all of that is done, the contractor still has a certain obligation to ensure that everything is running smoothly. And I think in this instance, from what I've been told, he also has a maintenance obligation for the next 2 years and then a defects liability period for 6 months. So we're talking about the next 30 months. Once he's completed, he still has a role to play in that entire process of ensuring that everything is okay. Right. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ms. Jade Brown, Communications Lead with St. Jude Hospital and the whole reconstruction project, as well as the Chief Executive Officer of St. Jude Hospital, Miss Lydia Atkins. And of course, we hope that you're not strangers to us. We are welcoming you anytime you want to come to speak about this all important national project, which of course is vital to especially the people in the South. But of course, the entire nation as well. Thank you once again. Wonderful. Thanks again. And you just, of course, heard it, the team from St. Jude Hospital giving us some insight into the commissioning process, which is ongoing with St. Jude Hospital. Well, that's all the time we have for today. We hope that you can join us again tomorrow for another program of The Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr., saying goodbye.